Good morning. My name is Leah Benny. I'm an assistant lecturer in chemistry and I've been handling NEET, JEE as well as foundation students for the past 3 years. So today we'll just take a very small yet an important topic of some basic concepts of chemistry, which is the first chapter of class 11th. So we can move on to the topic. Before that, I'll share my screen. Yes, I hope my screen is visible. All good. So we can start the topic limiting reagent. So limiting reagent by definition, it is a reactant. Limiting reagent is a reactant which gets completely consumed during a reaction. Which gets completely consumed during a reaction. Okay. So limiting reagent is a reactant. We know reactants while we are writing a reaction. A plus B gives C plus D, right? A and D are the reactants and C and D are the products, right? So the reactant which is completely consumed during a reaction is called as limiting reagent. Now I'll give you a very nice example for limiting reagent. Suppose you are having 3 buns. Okay, I'll mark it here. Yeah, this is buns. Okay, you're having 3 buns and 4 cheese slices, and you can have 4 chicken patties also. Okay, this is patty. So I'm having 3 buns, 4 cheese slices, and 4 patties. By using all these, how many burgers can I make? I can use 1 bun, 1 cheese slice, another patty. So 1 burger. I've made 1 burger, right? Now, using the next bun, next cheese slice, next patty, I've got the second burger. Now, the last bun, next cheese slice, next chicken patty. By using this, I've got how many burgers? I've got 3 burgers, right? Why I'm stopping with 3 burgers? Because bun got over, right? Bun finished. Only 3 buns were there. Even though 1 cheese slice and 1 patty is left, no bun is there. Without bun, how I'll make the burger, right? So here bun decides the amount of burgers formed, right? Because bun is getting finished. Even though cheese and patty is left, 1 cheese and 1 patty is left, right? But bun is not there, then how I'll make the burger, right? So here, bun is what? Bun is our limiting reagent. So the reactant that gets completely consumed during a reaction is called as limiting reagent. So here, bun is the limiting reagent. And who decides the amount of burger formed here? Bun decides the amount of burger formed, right? So I can write one more point, which is very important. Limiting reagent decides the amount of product formed. This is a very important point you have to remember. Limiting reagent decides the amount of product formed. We have also told, even though the bun got over, 1 cheese slice and 1 patty was left, right? They are called as excess reagent. They are called as excess reagent. So even though the reaction got over, some amount of cheese and some amount of patty is left, but I don't have any use with that because bun got over, I cannot make the burger, right? So limiting reagent is the reactant that gets completely consumed during the reaction, and limiting reagent decides the amount of product formed. Okay. So this is the basic of limiting reagent. Now we can solve one question. Yes, I'll write one random question. 2a plus 3b gives 4c plus 5d. Consider this as a balanced equation. This is the balanced equation. And the question is, if 4 moles of A and 3 moles of B is given, if 4 moles of A and 3 moles, oh not 3, you can write it as 9. 4 moles of A and 9 moles of B is given, find the limiting reagent, excess reagent, as well as the amount of C form. The amount of C formed. This is the question. To find answers of limiting reagent questions, we have some steps. Okay, we can move on to the steps now. Yes. So the question is, we have given with a balanced equation, amount in number of moles are given for the reactants. You have to find which is the limiting reagent, which is the excess reagent, as well as the amount of product. Here they are just asking amount of C form. Okay. So we are going to write step 1. One by one we can solve. Okay. Step 1 is just write the reactant 2A and 3B. This is according to the balanced equation, right? Now, step 2. Step 2 is find number of moles. Here things got easier because in the question itself, number of moles is given. But in some question, they won't give number of moles. You have to find the number of moles. How will you find the number of moles? We have an equation, right? Number of moles is equal to given mass by molar mass or given volume by molar volume. We have studied few formulas for number of moles. If number of moles is directly given, very easy. Okay. Now see, since it is already given, no need to find. I can write 4 moles of A is given, 9 moles of B is given. Yes. Now moving on to step 3. What is step 3? Divide number of moles by coefficients. Divide number of moles by coefficient. Here, for A, number of moles is 4. What is the coefficient of A? 2. For B, number of moles is 9. What is the coefficient of B? 3. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 9 divided by is 3. Out of 2 and 3, which is the lower number? 2 is the lower number. So, the reactant corresponding to 2. What is the reactant corresponding to 2? A is the reactant corresponding to 2, right? So, whichever value is less, that will be the limiting reagent. So, here who is the limiting reagent? A is the limiting reagent. That means A gets completely finished during this reaction. What about B? B will be the excess reagent. Okay. So, we have got the answer for first 2 questions. What is the limiting reagent? What is the excess reagent? Remember the steps one by one. Just find number of moles, divide number of moles by coefficient. Whichever is the lower number, they will be the limiting reagent. Very easy. Now, we can move on to the last question. Find the amount of C form. We have already told who decides the amount of product form. Limiting reagent decides, right? Because one decides the amount of burger form, right? So, limiting reagent decides the amount of product form. Limiting reagent decides the amount of product formed. Correct. Now I'm rewriting our balanced equation. 2A plus 3B gives 4C plus 5D. Here I just need to find the amount of C formed. That too, who is deciding that? Limiting reagent is deciding that. So I can write them alone. I can write 2A is giving 4C. This is according to what? This is according to balanced equation. This is according to balanced equation, right? Now, I am just converting this A in terms of 1. Here 2A is given, right? I am taking the unitary method. Unitary method. Unitary method means how can I write 2A as 1A divided by 2? If I am dividing by 2 in this side, to the opposite side also I have to divide by 2 or the same number, right? So I'm dividing by 2, then I can write 1A gives. If 2A is giving 4C, 1A will give 2C. Divide by 2 in this side, divide by 2 in this side also. So whatever be the coefficient here, you have to convert that in terms of 1. That is called as unitary method. Okay. Next is according to question. According to unitary method, 1A is giving 2C. according to question, how much A is given? See, 4 moles of A and 9 moles of B is there, right? So, yeah, 1 A gives 2 C. Then 4 moles of A gives how much C? I don't know. For that, we have to cross multiply. X into 1 is equal to 4 into 2, which is 8. If 1 mole of A gives 2 moles of C, 4 moles of A gives 8 moles of C. So how much amount of product C is formed? 8 moles of C is formed from 4 moles of A. Okay, so this is one type of question which can come from limiting reagent. One more type of question. This is the last type of question. We told A is the limiting reagent and B is the excess reagent. How many moles of B is given in the question? 9 moles of B is given in the question, right? We know B is excess. That means complete 9 is not used in the reaction. Some amount of that 9 moles will be left even after the reaction gets completed. So that can also be one type of question. So the question can be how much excess reagent, how much excess reagent will be left after the reaction? This can be the question. How much excess reagent will be left after the reaction? We can again write the balance equation. 2A plus 3B gives 4C plus 5B. Correct? So here we are taking into consideration this reactant. We know 2A reacts with 3B. Correct? This is according to what equation? This is according to balanced equation. Now, again, I'm converting into our same steps, unitary method. I can write, if 2A is giving 3B, 2A I have to write in terms of 1A. For that, I have divided by 2. Then, other side also, I have to divide by 2, right? 1A reacts with 3 divided by 2 is 1.5B. So, 1 mole of A is reacting with 1.5 moles of B. In the question, this is according to unitary method, right? In the question, how many moles of A is given? 4 moles of A is given, right? If 1 mole of A reacts with 1.5 moles of B, then 4 moles of A reacts with how much? X. We have to find out. So that cross multiply. X into 1 is equal to 4 into 1.5. X is equal to 4 into 1.5 is equal to 6 moles of B. That means 4 moles of A, which is the limiting reagent, reacts with how many moles of B? 6 moles of B. But is that our question? This is not my question, right? The question is how much B is left after the reaction. 6 moles of B is used for the reaction. After using B, how much is left? That is the question, right? So, in the question, how much B was given? See, 9 moles of B is given. Out of 9 moles, how much is used? Only 6 moles is used. So, B left will be 9 minus 6, that is equal to 3. So, 3 moles of B will be left even after the reaction completes. That is why B is called as excess reagent and A is the limiting reagent.